WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American in Germany. Today I'm in Berlin, BCB 2019, together with
Erin Hayes from Westward.
And
Tom Mooney
from
Westward American Single Malt Whiskey.
Very, very good. Interesting single malt, not bourbon, correct?
Absolutely.
Tell me the story.
Yeah, we're a whiskey of American Northwest provenance,
Yep.
And in our region of the country, what grows is barley.
Yep.
And so when we set out to make a whiskey that really defined where we're from, we wanted it to come from the grain that we grow, to be something that matures exceptionally well in the climate that we have. So it was really the right thing for us, and it doesn't hurt that we love single malt whiskey.
Very good. Now, single malt whiskey is not an official category at the moment in the States. Should it be, and why?
We actually are on the board of the Single Malt Commission to approach the TTB to make it a category. It absolutely should be. It will only elevate the category as a whole, and it will keep it prestigious and make sure that people are doing it the right way.
All right, very good. Now, I like your very nice bottle design. It's elegant, I would say. Westward, why?
Well, we are in the West, obviously.
Okay, yeah.
So when you are drinking it, we want you to be thinking of the beautiful Pacific Northwest and where we come from.
Yeah, great. Now,
Well, and if I can add to that, the history of the American West is all about the future.
Yep.
Like, we're in the place that people left the past to go there and create something, a world that didn't exist before. And so if we're going to set out and create a whiskey that didn't exist before, that felt like a good spirit.
very, very good. So let's do a little tasting here, all right? So we have it in a glass, and first of all, we're going to nose. Not a tumbler with nosing, I'm sorry, but that's all right. A little bit sweet, actually, right? What were you going for here?
Well, if you perceive some sweetness, it's probably from two different places. One is we age our whiskey in new American oak casks. And so there's just a little bit of natural sweetness from the barrel, from the char. But also we make our washes in a unique way, really unlike any other whiskey we know, in that we use pale ale yeast to ferment our wash. So if you think of the flavors of pale ale, you've got some fruit and you've got some floral notes, and those really make their way into the whiskey that you're tasting.
Very good. So in a mash tun, normally you put the whole, the grain in there, the malted barley, and then you have 2 or 3 washes, and that's what you do with the pale ale as well. Did I understand that correctly, or did I get it wrong?
Yeah, essentially we're brewing a pale ale from scratch,
Right, okay.
and so it's a pale ale yeast. It's a much lower temperature, slower ferment than most whiskey. And then that beer, without any solids, the beer goes into the still.
All right, very, very good. Yes, exactly. Not like the column still, it's pot still.
It is, double pot distilled.
Excellent. Now, let's imagine we're trying to get my bourbon friends converted. How do you convert my bourbon friends to try a single malt?
So, it's not a single malt that is going to be expected. A lot of times, especially American whiskey drinkers, have the notion that a single malt is going to be very peaty.
No.
Yes. But also it's going to be approachable for a bourbon drinker because of the way that we age. So you're going to get those familiar notes from the barrel. It's not going to be overpowering. It's not going to be super oaky, but the sweetness, the vanillin, a touch of the tannin, it's going to come through just like it does in bourbon.
Very, very good. So let's taste this together. All right, so cheers.
Cheers.
At the moment, it's still a no age statement. Is that going to be changing in the future?
We're really not in a hurry to add an age statement because we find that it distracts from a more interesting conversation about how whiskey is made. So we'd rather talk to you about the grain and the ferment and the beer and the things that really contribute to it having the flavor it has. But so that you know, what you're tasting is between 4 and 6 years old. And most of what we're bottling is in that range now, and maybe it'll change, maybe not. We put a very robust spirit into the barrel. We love what happens when it plays with a new cask, and we certainly don't think 12 or 18 years is the right amount of time for whiskey in a new barrel.
At least not in the States. It's not, and for the new barrel either. I totally agree. I get a lot of ale moments. I get a lot of like a beer type of aromas and tastes and flavors. Wow.
Yeah, so part of what our ethos is this idea of minimalist distilling, where you use the best possible raw ingredients and continue to just focus on keeping those present. So you start with this beautiful barley from the Pacific Northwest, and what we really want is that beautiful maltiness from the malted barley to come through. So you get these really nice cereal notes, especially on the finish. It's a really nice long finish, very robust, and again, really nice and fruity.
Good. Texas has its heat. Scotland has its tradition. You have your barley, or what's your USP here?
No, I mean, I think whiskey is a cultural product, and it's a combination of more than just a climate or a history. It's all of those things put together. So yes, we grow most of the malting barley in North America in our backyard. We're also one of the really greatest beer cultures in the world. And so we have malting and we have great brewers. We have a climate that's unique in that it's long summer days that are very hot and dry, cool, damp winters. So I would struggle to say one more than any other. Like provenance really is the sum of everything.
Where can we buy this? Is it in Europe?
We are getting there. Right now we're in Sweden, Denmark, the Netherlands. We are launching in the UK actually this week.
Good, congratulations,
Several other countries, across the US obviously, of course.
Okay, very good. And if I want, okay.
Oh, and just by the end of October, we'll be in some of the leading online retailers in Europe. So people, even in countries where we don't distribute yet, can find a bottle and have it shipped to them.
That's very, very good. And if I'm in the area, can I visit you?
Of course, we do tours in our tasting rooms 5 days a week. We're closed right now Tuesday, Wednesday, I believe. But you can make appointments online and come in and see what we do. Westwardwhiskey.com.
Thank you very much. WhiskyJason here together with
Thomas Mooney,
and
Erin Hayes.
from
Westward American Single Malt Whiskey.
Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers. Nice.